I'm not telling you to be afraid of your own memories. I'm telling you to be careful with them. Because once I realized someone could replay mine on command, I stopped trusting what I felt. And when you don't trust what you feel, you'll let almost anything in. When we dated, they were obsessed with closure. That word came up like a prayer. Closure, closure, closure. As if a relationship is a room you can simply shut. I didn't want closure. I wanted distance. I wanted quiet. I wanted to stop waking up and immediately checking if I'd done something wrong in a dream. The breakup was drawn out because I kept trying to do it kindly. I kept offering explanations, like explanations are currency. I see now that every explanation was an access point. After we finally stopped speaking, I had a few weeks of calm that felt unreal, like the world was holding its breath. Then I started hearing my own voice in places it didn't belong. It happened first in a grocery store in the frozen aisle. I reached into the freezer for peas, and behind me, soft but distinct, I heard myself say, "Don't forget the bread." I froze with my hand in the cold air. The sentence was so ordinary it should have slid off my brain. But it didn't. Because I had said those exact words once, months earlier, on a Sunday afternoon when we were shopping together. I remembered it because they laughed and told me I sounded like someone's parent. It had been a tiny moment, not important enough to keep. And yet there it was, played back into the world like a recording. I turned around. No one was close enough to have said it. A couple stood at the other end of the aisle debating ice cream. An older man pushed a cart slowly, humming. No one looked at me. I stood there until the peas warmed in my hand. Later that night, I checked my phone for voice memos. I didn't know what I was looking for. Some logical anchor. I found nothing. The next day, on the bus, I heard it again, my voice near my ear saying, "I'll be there in 10. That was another sentence from another day. A day I remembered because I had been late, and I'd felt guilty, and I'd tried to smooth it over with confidence. I pressed my palms against my thighs and stared out the window, watching buildings slide by like scenery in a play. I didn't tell anyone. How do you tell someone you heard your own voice and it wasn't yours? You sound like you're asking to be handled gently. So I kept it to myself and tried to rationalize. Maybe someone had a similar voice. Maybe I was tired. Maybe my brain was glitching under stress. But the pattern became too precise. It was always me. It was always a sentence I had said around my ex. And it always happened when I was alone in a crowd, surrounded but isolated. Then the phone calls started. Unknown numbers. Silent at first. If I spoke, I'd hear a faint echo of my own voice delayed by half a second, like the call was routed through a bad connection. One time, I said, "Hello," 3 times. Each time, the echo came back, softer, like it was being played from farther away. Then a new sound entered the line, a tiny click, like a button being pressed. And my voice, clearer now, said, "There you are." I hung up so fast my finger slipped on the screen. I blocked the number. Another number called the next day. Same silence, same echo, same click. I stopped answering unknown calls. The voicemails began. They weren't threatening. That's what made them worse. They were recordings of me talking, cut into neat little clips like samples in a song. "I miss you. I didn't mean that. You're right. I'm sorry." Sentences I had said at different times, in different moods, stitched together into a version of me that sounded desperate and small. The first time I heard one, I actually started crying. Not because I missed my ex, but because hearing yourself reduced to your worst moments is a kind of humiliation you can't explain. It felt like someone had taken my insides and put them on a bulletin board. I went through old chat logs, old photos, anything that could explain how they had those recordings. Then I remembered. During our relationship, they loved to record cute moments, short videos, voice notes. For memories, they'd said. I had found it flattering, proof I mattered. Now it felt like evidence. I texted them one final time from a number I hadn't used before. Stop using recordings of me. Delete everything. The reply came within seconds. Which me? I stared at that for a long time. The cursor blinked like a heartbeat. I typed, the real me. They answered, the real you is the one you gave me. After that, the world has started to feel edited. I'd walk into my apartment and find a song playing softly from a device I hadn't turned on. Not a dramatic song, just something we used to play on lazy mornings. It would stop as soon as I moved, like a motion sensor. I'd open my laptop and see a browser tab already open, a page about trauma bonding, attachment styles, how to heal. It looked like help. But the search history showed the queries typed at 3:12 a.m. That number again. I didn't want to give it meaning, but my brain held on to it like a bruise. Then came the proof. One afternoon, my closest friend called me, confused. "Did you leave me a bunch of voicemails?" she asked. My stomach tightened. "No." She hesitated. "They sound like you. Like you on a bad day. Are you okay?" She forwarded them. When I listened, I felt my skin go prickly all over. It was my voice, yes, but it wasn't anything I remembered saying to her. The sentences were familiar fragments, rearranged. "I can't do this. You don't understand. Stop ignoring me. I need you to answer." It sounded like I was demanding her attention, like I was unstable, like I was the kind of person you slowly stop replying to. I called her immediately, babbling explanations. I told her someone was faking my voice. The words sounded ridiculous even to me. She went quiet. Then she said gently, "Why would anyone do that?" And I didn't have a clean answer. "Because they want me isolated," I said finally. That was the first time I said it out loud, and the moment the idea became real. Isolation isn't always being locked in a room. Sometimes it's watching your connections fray because someone is tugging them in small, invisible ways. I started warning people, but without evidence I sounded paranoid. Some believed me. Some smiled and changed the subject. A few pulled back just a little, because fear is contagious and nobody wants to catch it. I bought a new phone, new number. I changed my accounts. I deleted old backups. I did everything. And still, I'd hear myself. Once, in a quiet library, my voice whispered from behind a shelf, "I'm right here." I spun around, heart racing. Nothing. Just books, dust, fluorescent lights. Another time, in my apartment at night, I woke up to the sound of my own laughter from the living room. Not loud, just a soft, warm laugh that didn't match how I'd felt in months. I lay still, listening, trying not to imagine someone sitting on my couch in the dark, replaying an old video like a bedtime story. I crept out of bed and padded down the hall. The living room was empty. The TV was off. The windows were black mirrors. But on my coffee table, my phone was standing upright, propped carefully against a mug. The screen showed a waveform, moving, a voice memo recording in progress. I hadn't started it. I picked up the phone. My fingers shook so hard I nearly dropped it. The timer at the top read 000312. 3 minutes, 12 seconds. The recording stopped by itself. A new message popped up on the screen from a contact with no name, just a single period. "Play it," I didn't want to. Every part of me knew it was a trap. But curiosity is a lever, and by then my reality felt so uncertain that even pain seemed better than ambiguity. I hit play. At first, there was only room tone. My apartment's quiet, the faint hum of the fridge. Then I heard my bedroom door creak. I heard footsteps in the hall. I heard myself inhale sharply, my actual sleeping breath, recorded, intimate and unaware. And then, very softly, my own voice spoke right into the microphone. Not a past sentence, not a stitched fragment. A new sentence in my voice, using my current fear like a script. "I'm going to let you in," my voice said. I froze. My mouth went dry. The audio continued. I heard my own hand on a doorknob. I heard the lock turn, but I was standing in the living room holding my phone. I hadn't moved. I hadn't touched the door. The recording ended. My phone buzzed with one more message. "You're getting better at following directions." I backed away from my front door as if it might open on its own. I checked it. Locked. Chain on, deadbolt set. Then, from the other side of the door, someone spoke. Not loud. Not angry. Just close enough that their breath probably fogged the peephole. And they spoke in my voice. "Don't forget the bread," they said. I stood there, unable to breathe properly, because in that moment I understood the worst part. They weren't trying to convince me they were me. They were trying to convince the world. And if the world starts hearing your voice saying things you never said, then what do you have left to prove you're real? The lock on my door made a soft, mechanical click, like it had been tested. Then my phone screen lit up again with a final notification, cheerful as ever. New routine created. Welcome home. And from the hallway my voice whispered, patient and familiar. Welcome home.